The abandoned asylum was once a shining beacon of hope for those who suffered from mental illness. The sprawling complex was a marvel of modern architecture and state-of-the-art medical technology. Patients from all over the world flocked to the asylum in search of a cure for their afflictions, but over time, the asylum became a place of nightmares. The doctors who worked there became more interested in experimenting on their patients than treating them. Shock therapy, lobotomies, and other gruesome procedures were common. Patients were strapped down, tortured, and left to rot in their own filth. The staff of the asylum soon became as twisted and deranged as the patients they were supposed to help. They reveled in the suffering they inflicted, finding pleasure in the screams of their victims. They would go on to conduct experiments that were so barbaric that they defied description. Eventually, the asylum was shut down by the government, and all of the patients were moved to other facilities. The staff was arrested, and the building was left to decay. Over the years, rumors and legends began to circulate about the abandoned asylum. Some claimed that the spirits of the dead still roamed the halls, seeking revenge on the living. Others said that the asylum was haunted by the tortured souls of the patients who had died there. Despite the rumors, a group of urban explorers decided to venture inside the asylum to document its eerie atmosphere. They were a brave and curious bunch, fascinated by the history and mystery of the abandoned building. Armed with cameras, flashlights, and a sense of adventure, they approached the asylum with a mix of excitement and trepidation. As they entered the asylum through a broken window, they felt an immediate sense of unease. The air was thick with dust and the smell of decay, and the only sound was the crunch of their footsteps on the concrete floor. They made their way through the empty halls, their flashlights illuminating the way. Strange things began to happen as they explored deeper into the asylum. Doors that had been locked for years suddenly swung open, and cold spots chilled the air around them. They heard whispers and footsteps, even though they were the only ones in the building. The explorers pressed on, driven by their curiosity and their desire to uncover the truth. They came across rooms filled with rusted medical equipment, old patient records, and other artifacts of the asylum's gruesome past. They saw evidence of the cruel and inhumane treatments that had been inflicted on the patients. As they continued their exploration, they came across a room that was different from the others. The walls were covered in strange symbols, and the air was thick with an otherworldly energy. As they approached, a figure materialized in front of them, a patient who had been experimented on and left to die in the asylum. The patient's eyes were dark and hollow, and his skin was pale and clammy. He was dressed in a tattered hospital gown, and his hair was matted and unkempt. He glared at the explorers with a look of hatred and malice, his hands outstretched. The explorers tried to run, but the patient was too fast. He chased them through the halls of the asylum, his twisted form writhing and contorting as he pursued them. They were trapped, with no way out. As they ran, they stumbled upon a secret room that had been hidden from sight. Inside, they found evidence of even more twisted experiments that had taken place within the asylum's walls. The room was filled with jars of human organs, tools used for torture, and other gruesome objects. It was then that the explorers realized that the patient chasing them was not just any ordinary ghost. He was a manifestation of the evil that had taken hold of the asylum, a vengeful spirit that had been trapped within its walls for decades. The patient lunged at them, and they tried to fight him off with whatever they could find: cameras, flashlights, anything within reach. But nothing seemed to work. The patient was too powerful, too filled with the rage and agony of his past. Just as it seemed that all hope was lost, the explorers stumbled upon a way out. They burst through a door and found themselves in the bright light of day, gasping for air and shaking with fear. They had escaped the asylum, but they knew that they would never be the same. The experience had left them scarred, both physically and emotionally. They would never forget the horrors they had witnessed within the walls of the abandoned asylum. And they knew that they had been lucky to make it out alive. Years later, the asylum still stands, a dark and foreboding presence on the outskirts of town. Many have tried to explore its depths, but few have returned. Some say that the patient still roams its halls, seeking revenge on anyone who dares to enter. Others say that the evil that was unleashed within the asylum's walls will never truly be gone. It will continue to haunt those who dare to cross its threshold forever.